Hello, today I'm going to show you my Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade build that I've been working on for the last couple of months. I've gone in a different direction to how most people build the deck, and I think it's interesting enough that I should show it off in a deck profile like this, and maybe people can take what I've kind of built and the theory around the deck and maybe improve it in ways that I haven't seen. So it'd be interesting to see some discourse about it if you find what I've done with the deck interesting. So we will start off with the main deck and the Lyrilusc cards. So obviously we are playing 3 copies of Turquoise Warbler. It is the best Lyrilusc in the deck. It's a free summon, which means you don't need other Lyriluscs to combo off with it, because often enough, it's enough to put a Turquoise Warbler on the board, and it's like normal summon a Nerval or normal summon a Kit, and be able to link off to go to your Theorising to get your plays going. So we definitely want to max out on Turquoise Warbler. I'm also maxing out on Cobalt Sparrow. Now, this would make the deck the Big Bird build. I think that's what it's being called in different groups that talk about Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade. I'm not going too high on the Lyrilusc, so I'll just show you now. The only other one I am playing is the Sapphire Swallow. A lot of people like to play Beryl Canary and the Wagtail in the big build, but I don't really think those cards are necessary. I'm maxing out on the Cobalt Sparrow because this deck is based around a combo you can do when you see Turquoise Warbler and Cobalt Sparrow. So I wanted to max out on both as well as the ways to search them to make the combo I've built as consistent as possible. And I mean, opening up like multiple copies of Cobalt Sparrow is obviously never good, but it is normally like discard outlets for Keras or for just to summon off Theorising later on in the combo. And there's plenty of stuff you can do with Cobalt Sparrow when you see it. So I've maxed out on it. And then obviously the one Sapphire Swallow is also used in the combo, and it is just a good extender when like the situation on board is correct. No Wagtail, because as much as it does the same thing as Cobalt Sparrow, it does do it worse. It is another name, and it can get you to like a 6 Mat Zeus and that sort of stuff going second, which is good, but when you open up something like Bird Call and the Wagtail, you don't have combo. You just have like 2 birds on board, which is not awful, but I'd rather max out on Cobalt Sparrow before I add any Wagtails in. And I feel like the 3 copies of Cobalt Sparrow with 3 copies of Fractal and Bird Call, this is just perfect. And I'll show you the combo at the end of the video, obviously. That's it for the bird monsters. Onto the Tri-Brigades. We're playing obviously free Fractal. It lets you dump any Tri-Brigade, lets you dump the Cobalt Sparrow, Kits, Nervals. I mean, it's the best card in the deck for sure. It's also the biggest Tri-Brigade, which does come up more than you think it would. Alongside that, we're playing free Nerval. It's what makes this deck work together, being a level 1 winged beast. I mean, Fractal obviously being able to send Lyrilusc cards is obviously good as well, but the main reason that these decks mix together is because of Tri-Brigade Nerval. I'm only playing 1 kit. If you're playing like pure Tri-Brigade, you'd often be playing 3 of this or 2 of this. And I know a lot of bird players now play 2 copies of kit, but it's just kind of the worst Tri-Brigade. Like, being able to normal summon it and go into Almirage and then send a Nerval and search something else is fine, but it doesn't really do anything on its own, so I'm only really playing it 1, and the combo doesn't even use kit, so it's like, you can combo off first turns to keep your kit in your deck, or in hand as like follow-up and that sort of stuff, so I don't really see the need to play more than 1 copy. But I am playing 2 Keras. Now, I'm considering maybe playing a 3rd copy of Keras, because we do use 1 in the combo, and that does leave 1 in deck, which is normally good enough, but I often find in grind matchups it's nice to have the 3rd Keras. It does sometimes come up. It may be a little bit too much, but it is kind of the only Tri-Brigade monster that isn't an extender, so I do think that a 3rd one may be necessary, but at the minute I'm going to stick with 2 and just see how it goes. So that's all the Tri-Brigade monsters. And then we have Dasher and Celestial, obviously our DPE targets for Fusion Destiny. I think if you're not playing DPE in Bird Up, you're probably playing it wrong. Obviously, if you can't afford it, there's plenty of other ways of playing the deck, but I do think it is best to be playing the DPE build of this deck because DPE is just so strong, so ridiculously strong, and so easy to get to Verte in Tri-Brigade. It's ridiculous, honestly. One last main deck monster that's not a hand trap is the whole reason I built the deck, and that is Rescue Ferret. Now, Rescue Ferret is the most broken card that has ever been printed that has never had a home to actually live in. Like, this card's ridiculous. I can't think of any time it's ever been used in a meta deck, despite the fact it literally could theoretically summon 4 monsters to your board. So if you haven't read Rescue Ferret, I'll quickly give you a little synopsis of what it does. Basically, you can shuffle it from your fields into the deck as cost, as all rescue cards banish themselves or tribute themselves as cost to activate their effects. And you get to special summon monsters from your deck to link zones on the board whose total levels add up to 6. So in our combo, we normally summon 3 monsters, a 1, a 2, and a 3, and just get to do link plays and other plays just straight from Rescue Ferret. And obviously, because it's a Tri-Beast monster, you can search it off of Shurag, you can summon it off of Jeet. It's incredible, and I'll show you why we play this in the deck. It's only play it 1 because it's super searchable, and like even if you do open it, it's normally fine because A, it's just a beast monster, so you can just link it off. And sometimes you can just like go for Keras plays or Lyrilusc plays and get like 2 link zones and then summon like a Fractal and a Keras, and you've got 2 more monsters. Their effects are negated, but it's like you just get a free link too. So yeah, I really like this in the deck. Then we'll go on to the hand traps. Now I'm playing 13 hand traps. Quickly show them off. I'm playing 3 Ash, 3 Impermanence, 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Ghost Bell, 2 Veiler, and 1 DD Crow. Just quickly check that is 13, I believe it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13. The reason I'm playing 13 hand traps is because A, you have a lot of space in this deck just to add random cards, because both the Lyrilusc and the Tri-Brigade engines are quite small. So you just have a bunch of room for like just going second cards. And you often in this format need 2 hand traps to be able to stop the better decks from going off, like Phantom Knights and like Prank Kid Adventure and just all the decks that play Brave, really. I mean, so 13 is the point in which you are more likely than not to see 2 hand traps in your hand when you're playing 40 cards. I believe it's about 52% to see 2 hand traps. The reason I'm playing 3 Ash and 3 Imperm, whereas like 2s and 1s of the others, is because Ash hits pretty much every deck. It doesn't hit every deck well, but it has applications in against every single deck. Infinite Permanent's playing it free because it's not once per turn. It doesn't lose the cards like Called By and monster negation effects, and it's decent to draw as your Sith card, as just a thing to throw down and negate a card on the field that is going to be giving you issues that you're trying to play through. Playing 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Ghost Bell, and 2 Effect Veiler. Ghost Ogre is really good this format. I didn't want to play it free because there are a lot of decks where it's just not fantastic against. And when you're playing a high proportion of hand traps, the odds of you seeing 2 of the same hand trap do steadily increase, because if you were just playing like 3 Ash Blossom, it's very unlikely you're going to see 2 Ash Blossom. But if you're playing 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Ghost Ogre, then the chance of you seeing 2 of Ghost Ogre or 2 of Ash is obviously then much higher. So when you get to 13 hand traps, it becomes relatively likely that you're going to see 2 of the same hand trap. So I wanted to put the ones that weren't so great 2 and to 1 in DD Crow's case because it's searchable. Ghost Bell we actually use in the combo, which I'll show you a little bit later on. And Effect Veiler, again, isn't the best hand trap, but it's not once per turn. It does basically the same thing as Infinite Impermanence. So yeah, that's why I'm playing those hand traps. We'll go into the spells now. Obviously, we're playing 3 Bird Call. It searches or dumps any Lyrilusc monster from your deck, or adds it to your hand. And on resolution, you can obviously just special summon another Lyrilusc monster from your hand with a different name. It very rarely comes up because the 2 Lyriluscs you want in hand are Turquoise Warbler, which summons itself anyway, and Cobalt Sparrow. And if you have Turquoise and you're searching Cobalt, you don't want to drop the Cobalt because you want to special summon the Turquoise. But it's good to know that effect's there, maybe for later on in the grind games and that sort of thing. 2 Fusion Destiny, obviously we're playing this, it's just a summon DPE. And then we're playing 1 Tenki and 1 Foolish Burial. Tenki obviously searches fractals, so it's just another copy of pretty much everything in your deck. Foolish Burial can send Nerval to search any of your Tri-Brigades, or it can just send Cobalt Sparrow and become like a 12th copy of Cobalt Sparrow. 3 Brown, 3 Frack, 1 Tenki, 7, 3 Vertical, 10. So Foolish Burial would be 11. So 11 copies of Cobalt Sparrow in the deck, which is pretty good. So maybe you could shave off a Cobalt Sparrow if you don't want to play free, but I'm playing free for the time being. So that's it for the spells. And then 1 trap in the main deck, which is the Revolt. I don't really want to play any more than this. I mean, it's nice to draw, but I'd rather just search it throughout the combo. I mean, if you draw it, it's great. If you don't, whatever, I'm just going to search it. We'll go on to the extra deck now, mainly because the side deck, which is thrown together. So for the Lyrilusc portion, we're playing 1 Recital Starling, because it's at 1, and 1 Assembled Nightingale, because going second and in time, it's really good. We're also playing the Zeus to pair with the Assembled Nightingale, for obvious reasons, just going second stuff. For link monsters, I think we're just going to start with the Tri-Brigade archetype links. So we're playing 1 Ferrigite, could possibly play 2, and I'll show you where to cut in a second. 1 Bearbrum, 1 Rugal, and 2 Shurags. So you need to play 2 Shurags because you normally combo with 1 on your first turn, and you need a second one for the Revolt to actually get value off of it. So this is a necessary at 2. Bearbrum, you could play 1 more of Ferrigite or Bearbrum and the combo would still work. And I think I am going to be starting playing 2 Ferrigite going forward, because it is just probably better than what I'm playing right now. There was some theory into what I'm playing, and I'll show you in a second, but this is probably like the bare minimum you can play for Tri-Brigades. The Rugal, I mean, it's not very good, but when it comes up, it comes up. Like, you sometimes just need a monster to link the Bearbrum off for, to search a Revolt, or a 3 to go into for some reason, just for what the board looks like. So I'm playing it. It could possibly be a Downward Magician, which I'm currently playing in the side, or it could be the other Lyrilusc XZ, which my brain can't work out what it's called. The one that bounces. No idea. Well, it could be that, because I'm not playing that currently, but those are the Tri-Brigade links I'm playing. For the other links, I'm playing 1 Almirage. It's very good for just getting a normal summoned Nerval or Kit off the board to get the rest of your engine going. 1 Heartbeat Conductor. Now, this is the card that could be cut for the Ferrigite. I'm currently playing the Heartbeat Conductor because there's some theory in my brain about playing the Heartbeat's Featherstorm and being able to make this on your 5th or 6th summon to be able to play around Nibiru in games 2 and 3 when you know you're going first, and potentially making it going second to be able to drop it like a Dark Ruler no more. I think that's kind of cope, but it's how I've built the deck currently, and this could be another Ferrigite, but it is using the combo, and I will show you in a bit. We're also playing 1 DDL, obvious, it's just a bounce you can make off Tri-Brigades, 1 Appaloosa, 1 Predaplant Anaconda, which goes with our DPE, and the 15th card in the extra deck is a Nat Beast, which we end on with our 2-card combo with Turquoise Warbler and Cobalt Sparrow. I will quickly show off the side. I mean, I literally just threw it together for locals last week, but I'll show it off. Playing 3 Droll, 3 Nibiru. They're not good enough to be in the main deck at the minute, I don't feel, because most decks put up a negate before you have a chance in Nibiru, and Droll is just kind of lackluster this format, but when it's good, it's really good, so I felt like I just play it. Play a lot of back row removal. I'm playing 3 Twin, 1 Heartbeat's Feather Duster, and 1 Cosmic Cyclone. I hate playing against back row, so I'd rather play more cards to out it. I would probably play 3 Evenly, but I don't own Evenlys. And I've lost my red reboot, so that would probably be in there as well, to be honest, but this worked kind of fine. What else we got? We got 3 anti-spell fragrance, and 1 downed magician. So I couldn't find a spot for the downed magician to go into. Maybe the Rugal, but I feel like the Rugal comes up enough with warrants being in the extra deck, especially if you're playing a long form tournament. And the anti-spells, they're okay. I mean, they stop cards like Dark Rule anymore, droplets, unless they chain to it. And it can just be good against a lot of decks. I'm considering swapping these out for Solemn Judgments, because Judgment just stops everything, and you're only starting the tin when you're going first. Maybe Judgment might be better, but that's what I've got so far. And I'll quickly set up so I can show you the combo. So as I said, the combo is a 2-card combo. It needs Turquoise Warbler or a way of searching it, and Cobalt Sparrow and a way of either searching it or dumping it to the graveyard. Lock the camera stand there. Very simple combo. So we'll just get straight into it. First, you're going to special summon Turquoise Warbler using its own effect, and then using its on-field effect on special summon to special summon a Lyrilusc monster from your hand or graveyard. So we're just going to summon the Cobalt Sparrow, and Cobalt Sparrow is going to trigger, allowing us to get a search, and we are going to search for a Nerval. Next, we're going to overlay our 2 Lyriluscs for a Recital Starling. We're not going to use the first effect to play around Ogre as much as possible, and we're going to send the Cobalt Sparrow to the graveyard and search a copy of Sapphire Swallow. Next, we're going to use the Sapphire Swallow to special summon itself and the Nerval from our hand. And then we're going to immediately link with the Sapphire Swallow and the Recital Starling and go into a copy of Heartbeat Conductor. Next, we are going to banish the 4 monsters in our graveyard to special summon out a Shurag. Ooh. Did I not put the Shurag in the pile of cards? I don't believe I did. So we're going to special summon out a Shurag. And then we are going to link 2 with the Nerval and the Shurag to make a Berejit, just here. And then we're going to be able to trigger Shurag and Nerval, searching ourselves a Ferret off the Shurag and a Fractal off the Nerval. Next, we're going to use the Ferrijit effect to special summon a Tri-Beast monster from our hand, and we're going to special summon the Rescue Ferret. We're then going to link off our Ferrijit and our Heartbeat Conductor for a 2-material Apo. So we're protected from hand traps from this point on. If we got nibbed or anything before this, then there is plenty of lines where you can still end on DPE Revolt, which is what the Tri build normally ends on anyway. So not really scared of too many hand traps doing this combo, but we're now completely insulated from the Appaloosa. But the main reason we want the Appaloosa is because it has 3 downward arrows. We can use our Rescue Ferret, shuffling it into the deck, and then we can special out a Keras, a Cobalt Sparrow, and a Ghost Bell from the deck. A 1, a 2, a 3, which obviously adds up to 6. We can then synchro using our Keras and our Ghost Bell for a copy of Natbeast. And at this point, we haven't used our normal summon, so we can then normal summon our Fractal, banish 2, which would normally be the Ferrijit and the Nerval, since they're 3 summons back off of the Revolt, which actually do something in graveyard. We'll use the Fractal effect to banish 2. So we will summon our Bearbrum to the zone below Appaloosa, and then we can link our Cobalt Sparrow and our Fractal away for a copy of Verte Anaconda. Use the Verte, pay 2k, send a Fusion Destiny, a Dasher, and a Celestial, and summon a copy of DPE from the extra deck. We then use the effect of DPE and pop the Verte and the Bearbrum. Bearbrum would trigger, we'll search the Revolt and then put a card back, and we can then set the Revolt, and we end on a board of DPE, Natbeast, and Appaloosa for 2, just off of that copy of Turquoise Warbler and Cobalt Sparrow. So we have a non-targeting pop in our opponent's turn, 2 monster negates, infinite spell negates, technically, and a Tri-Brigade Revolt, which is going to allow us to get into a Shurag and is then going to have follow-up for us later on. If you open up with a copy of Fusion Destiny, you can also end on a DDL, since you won't have to make the Verte, so you can just banish 2 for the Double Dragon Lords instead of the Bearbrum, and then just link off the Fractal. But instead of summoning a Cobalt Sparrow, you'll just summon a Nerval, because it's also a level 1, and then you just make Bearbrum that way. So there are ways of making this board better, but this is the bread and butter combo that I've kind of come up with. So I said you can still do some form of combo and end on DP Revolt if you get Nibiru'd before you end up with Appaloosa on the board. So I'm just going to quickly show you how that works. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I'm sure a lot of you have already understood how it would work, but we're just going to run through it anyway. Special summon a Turquoise Warbler, summon a Brown, get a search for a Nerval, overlay for our Recital Starling, and detach a material to be able to search for a copy of Sapphire Swallow. Same fee again, special summon a Sapphire Swallow and a Nerval. Technically, we could get Nibiru'd here. If we get Nibiru'd here, I mean, we still got to search off a Nerval. We haven't used our normal summon, so we can pretty much do anything, really. You can start on DP Revolt using the exact same method that I'm going to show you here. This just requires a little bit more investment from your extra deck, because you're going to assume your opponent's going to let you play a little bit to try and shut down your turn as quickly as possible. So we're going to banish a 4, including this Cobalt Sparrow, to go into our Shurag, link into our Ferrigeet. These should be somewhere else. I know the graveyard and banish placements are a little bit weird, but my setup's not the greatest, so I'm trying to keep everything in frame as much as possible. Shurag and our Nerval are going to trigger, so we're going to grab our Rescue Ferret and our Fractal. Special summon our Rescue Ferret, and we get Nibiru'd here before we can go into Appaloosa or use our Rescue Ferret's effect. So if that's the case, and all of these go to the graveyard and we get a token, I'll assume they put it in the middle zone, then we still haven't used our normal summon, so we can just normal summon our Fractal out. Banish 2, probably again the Nerval and the Ferrigeet, and summon out a copy of Bearbrum. We can discard 2 cards in hand, so say the Infinite Impermanences, and special summon out the Nerval, and then we can just link the Nerval and the Fractal away, go into a Verte, cards on the floor, use our Verte effect to send Fusion Destiny and the 2 Destiny Hero cards, summon out our Phoenix Enforcer, and use the effect to either pop the Verte and the Bearbrum, or the token and the Bearbrum, as long as the Bearbrum gets popped. So we'll just say we'll keep the token since it's in defense. And we get to grab a copy of Revolt and put the 5th card back into the deck. And then we can set the Revolt, and we still end up on DP Revolt. We're going to be able to go into Shurag because we have plenty enough in here, including the Ferrigeet, which we summoned properly. So we can summon like Ferrigeet, Nerval, and the Cobalt Sparrow, go into a Shurag. Maybe DP pop the Shurag and then search a DD Crow as well. So possibly 3 interruptions, more than likely 2, but this is good enough when you've been hit with Nibiru and your opponent's already used 1 card. In fact, you probably use the DP to pop the Nibiru your opponent has and your Bearbrum. I didn't consider that the Nibiru would be on board. But yeah, that's how you would play through Nibiru on probably the most opportune opportunity for your opponent. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed me rambling about a deck I've put way too much thought into, considering it's a mid-deck, and mid-decks are awful this format. If you have, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm sure I'll have more content up soon, and you won't have to wait another 2.5 years before a video comes up. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.